Well, there are many who sound off about politicians on social media, and US President Donald Trump certainly doesn't waste any time firing back at his critics. But taking on those in power can have serious consequences depending on where you are in the world. That's been driven home to an American woman in Zimbabwe. Martha O'Donovan is in jail after reportedly tweeting that President Robert Mugabe is, quote, a selfish and sick man. She's also accused of plotting to overthrow the country's government. Our David McKenzie joins us now from Johannesburg with more. And David, this is a 25-year-old woman from New Jersey that could be facing 20 years in prison over a tweet. I understand the bail hearing has been postponed. Why?
Well, it's pretty typical for these bail hearings to be postponed, often because the state isn't ready with its case, and that appears to what happened today in Harare. So the issue here is that she could be facing 20 years, as you say, for this tweet, but also for potentially, according to the state, subverting the power of the government. The question is, why is the government going to these great lengths when they could just deport this American citizen if they wished, a very simple procedure? And it is the case that she denies all culpability and says these charges are false, but a very serious moment for that American woman in Zimbabwe, where the country is ruled with an iron fist.
And speaking of that iron fist, the country's leader Mugabe is 93 years old. How long can he remain in power?
Well, he wants to remain in power for the foreseeable future, but you've had tectonic shifts in the politics and the brutal succession battle in Zimbabwe leading up to elections next year. Just earlier this week, Mugabe fired his longtime ally and Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Now, he's gone into hiding, but just recently released a statement saying that he is safe. The head of the war veterans, who spoke just a short time ago here in Johannesburg, saying that Mnangagwa is on his way soon, he says, to South Africa, and they are fighting the possibility of a broad-based coalition to take on Robert Mugabe and the First Lady, Grace Mugabe, who's widely seen as trying to push her way into power, according to her critics. So very crucial economic and political times in Zimbabwe right now, and you could be seeing this heading towards its end game, something that has been long speculated for many years because of Mugabe's advancing age. Linda?
Some interesting developments there. All right, David McKenzie, stay across that story for us. We will talk to you soon. Well, before we move on, Twitter is doubling the amount of letters you can use in a single tweet to 280. So you can criticize politicians or share a hilarious meme in the longer form now. In fact, everything I'm telling you now fits exactly into that space. It's rather handy, actually. Well, still ahead. Donald Trump home and away as the US president is honored in China. The mood in his party back home is less than festive as Republicans face new blows in the recent elections.